What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on Nootropics. So we're going to talk about whether or not over time, through taking nootropics and research chemicals, that you end up having to take less nootropics and research chemicals. I want to remind you guys, Cortex is buy one, get one free right now. Okay, the special ends tomorrow, which is May 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So you have virtually no time to get it done. Go to livecortex.com, add however many bottles you're going to buy to your cart, and then enter the coupon code GET1, GET space ONE. The coupon code will apply. If it says coupon code applied successfully, that's your validation that it worked. You won't see the free bottles on your receipt. We will ship you free bottles per what you buy. So if you buy one bottle, we'll ship you another bottle for free. If you buy 10 bottles, we'll ship you 10 bottles plus your 10 bottles for free. Do that at livecortex.com. Cortex is BOGO right now for just about another 24 hours. All right, so the answer to the question of whether or not, over time taking nootropics and research chemicals, you will eventually take less is it depends. It depends. So let's discuss a scenario in which you don't take less nootropics over time. People like Ray Kurzweil, the futurist and now senior Google official, have been taking nootropics for a long time, and it's just part of their daily regimen. It isn't something in their cases that they're needing to repair. It is just an extra infusion, quantity-wise of neurotransmitters via the material of the compounds. Like Ray takes glycerol, phosphoryl, choline, Alcar, a few other known nootropics. I forget the list, but it's actually a pretty big list. Rick Rosner, the guy who has one of the highest known IQs of people that are alive today in the States, takes piracetam, Alcar, alpha GPC, a few other nootropic compounds, and this is just a consistent part of their regimen, right? So in that case, you're really not taking less nootropics over time. It's just part of your regimen to take. And I've seen other people that are like that too, and usually their doses on said nootropics are kind of modest. They include them in their daily regimen. Okay, so that's that. The other case, and the answer to the question in the other scenario is yes. You ultimately will be taking, there's a class of people that will be taking less nootropics and less research chemicals over time as they continue to improve their brain. And those people are people that typically at this point, like at this stage in their brain function, at this stage in their experimentation with chemicals that modify cognitive performance, at this point are doing a lot of repair work and take currently a lot of stimulants, right? A lot of racetams, modafinil, the teocrines, the theobromines of the mix, the hydrogenes of the mix, all the things that quite stimulate the brain in a manner that gets you to want to work and makes your brain work particularly quick. In those cases, right, the necessity for hardcore stimulant regimen, nootropic-wise in your stack and otherwise supplement-wise, usually has to do with stimulant tolerance, which is, as it relates to caffeine and analogs, adenosine mediated, really the receptor. But in most cases, it is dopamine mediated, and it is dopamine receptors and dopamine transport, right? Being super downregulated and not particularly sensitive to stimulants and then dopaminergic agents, okay? In those cases, a person might be taking 100 milligrams modafinil, 2 grams aniracetam, 100 of CDP choline, 300 of teocrine, 100 milligrams of theobromine, and maybe some cordyceps mushroom or something, right? Mildly dopaminergic. So, but a generally dopaminergic stack, and also 300 milligrams of caffeine. In that person's case, if they are working on restoring the optimal or prime aged function of dopamine transmission via receptors and transport and dopamine synthesis enzymes like tyrosine hydroxylase and dopa decarbylase, then over time, if they're doing it right with the right chemicals, and they've got a protocol that really does work to restore stimulant tolerance and dopamine supersensitivity, then yes, they will need to take less modafinil, less theacrine, less theobromine, less cordyceps, less chaga, less caffeine, whatever stimulant that they might be taking. They will need to take a lot less of it. And I say that, I guess in two major examples, one of which, if you open it up, has many, many examples, and those are consulting clients of ours that we have restored stimulant tolerance with and dopamine sensitivity with. These are folks that have abused dopamine-centered compounds for many, many years, hardcore ones like pharmaceutical ones like Adderall, and have gotten them to the point where basically to function really awesomely, when they wake up in the morning, they drink some coffee, maybe have a little teacrine and Alcar, and they're on their way. And they don't require anything else. For exceptional bouts of needed mental endurance and performance, they will dose 75 to 100 milligrams of modafinil. That's sort of where I'm at, at this time. And then the second example of that is me personally. Look, I take aniracetam usually, and it's usually in my morning supplement regimen. It's like 400 or 500 milligrams. If I just want to have a slight increase in working memory, because I'm going to be doing tasks related to working memory, and I love to do that. Otherwise, I will take high-dose oxyracetam if I haven't slept well, like a gram, sometimes a gram and a half, a little bit of choline, some teacrine, some caffeine, maybe a little theobromine, if I haven't slept well. Because even if you have a rockin' baseline, if you haven't slept well, your brain's not going to perform all that well. So there's a lot of situations in which nootropics in that case are very warranted. And then, of course, I still take modafinil if I need to really, really pump out like 10 straight hours of work. And I'm experimenting a lot with bromontane for a variety of things, not just nootropic-wise, but otherwise, other things that are related to dopaminergic function and signaling. But it also gives me a great kick and a great mental energy and a lot of endurance, like sustenance in terms of cognitive processing. So it's really cool. I take vinpocetine from time to time just to get a little bit of kind of light on my feet, kind of mental energy. Coliracetam, a little rarely. PRL-853 to read at night sometimes, and then to dig through scientific studies on a new topic that I'm interested in. And again, I mean, sort of the rest of the no nootropics, the rest of the racetams. I love taking racetam at nighttime just to kind of chill me out and make me sleep better. I don't really dose ashwagandha all that much unless I really, really am stressed for some weird reason, but usually I can control that. Theanine as a balancer to certain stimulatory stacks that I might make a mistake on and take too high doses on as an experiment or just sort of trialing something, and all the rest of the kind of nootropics that we typically talk about. But I want to make it clear that on an average day where I've got an average workload and I've slept 7 or 8 hours, 115 or so milligrams of caffeine, 500 milligrams aniracetam in my morning supplement regimen, a B complex, vitamin D, a few other things, maybe 100 or 200 milligrams of Alcar. That's all I need to function super awesomely throughout the day. That's it, right? No hardcore doses of racetams, no hardcore doses of modafinil, no hardcore doses of like C-Max or anything. None of that, right? On days where everything's like pretty good and I've got sort of an average workload. And frankly, on those days I could get away with waking up, having some coffee, and then maybe taking like a couple 100 milligrams of Alcar. That's it. Or alternatively having some coffee and then a little, like 100 milligrams of theacrine or something. And dare I say, on some days I can actually, when I'm camping with my woman and I might not be taking nootropics or something, I just drink coffee. And I function pretty awesomely throughout the day. Now, why is that? That is because over time I've done a lot of repair work, man. I've tried and experimented with virtually every neurogenesis agent, including dihexa, and C-Max, and of course uridine and CDP choline in the Cortex stack, and then outside of that, experimenting with different doses. Bromontane, I worked very, very heavily on the cholinergic system in a repair type capacity. Via Noopept and trying to foster nerve growth factor. I mean, I've been doing this stuff for many years, over a decade. And so at this point, I've executed a lot of repair work to the point where I just don't need heavy stimulants in order to function. Now, I want to bring you back, just to really put this all in perspective, to just about 8 years ago or so, when I was right around 4 years into experimenting with nootropics, and I was running a previous company of mine, a technology repair company in Bethlehem in Pennsylvania. And it was sort of the beginning stages of that company where I had to, in order to function at the capacity that I do now with just coffee L-carnitine as an example, I had to take heavy doses of everything. Afinols, racetams, theobromine. I was drinking yerba mate, like a lot of yerba mate back in the day, and taking high dose choline sources, and bringing in as much kind of dopamine centric, stimulant centric stuff as possible in order to perform at a certain capacity to build that business. These days, if I were to build a whole new business, like one of the things that I want to do next is create an entire new company around fixing the gut, particularly reflux issues. Because it's, the way that they're addressing it in the medical establishment is terrible and bad for people long term. But that's something I actually want to do, whether it's creating a drug, which I know is going to take $2 billion freaking dollars and many years for clinical trials, or some sort of other route. It's something I want to do. But if I wanted to start such a business, which would require 16-17 hours of my brain performance being super awesome for about two to 4 years, I would not need to go back on high dose everything. Certainly I'd be dosing modafinil and racetams, basically the litany of stuff that we talk about, but just not in as high doses. And I could get away with a lot of days waking up, having coffee, having some theacrine and L-car, and going to town, okay? So the answer to the question is yes, for certain people in those situations that might need restoration of sensitivity to stimulants and dopamine supersensitivity restored. Over time, as they do that, they'll need to take less nootropics. If one is virtually performance-wise dependent on high doses of very stimulant compounds right now, definitely is the case. Okay, so the answer is yes. And then, but for other people that really don't have that issue, that just want extra quantities of neurotransmitters and get a great benefit and a great sort of functional boost from regular nootropics and kind of modest doses, people up to the age of 80 are taking them, daily just to function, okay, and to function optimally. So that's my take on that. I hope that makes sense. Thanks so much for watching. That's a question that kind of comes through a lot, and I think it should guide, it should help guide people's agenda, trajectory, and outlook, therefore dictating your daily strategy on how they're going to take nootropics kind of sustainably moving forward, okay? Guys, remember, Cortex Stack, buy one, get one free right now. BOGO on Cortex right now for just another 24 hours or so. It ends the 29th of May at right around 2 p.m. Eastern time. So you have to get on that if you want to get Cortex, buy one, get one free. Add a bottle to your cart or however many bottles you're going to buy. Use the coupon code GET1, GET_ONE. The coupon code will apply successfully, and that'll validate your order to get free bottles. However many bottles you buy, if you use that coupon code, we see it on the shipping end, and the shipping clerk will ship you free bottles per what you buy. So if you buy 2, you get 2 free. If you buy 5, you'll get 5 bottles free on top of your 5 that you bought. If you buy 10, 10 free, the whole deal. Coupon code is GET1, GET_ONE, livecortex.com. BOGO on Cortex for just about another 24 hours. Get it done. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.